Hey everyone, welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive clash of philosophies between Apple's established laptop dominance and NVIDIA's radical new vision for the PC. For years, Apple has had the absolute cleanest story in personal computing. One chip, one operating system, one perfectly integrated ecosystem. But right now, we're witnessing a major disruption. Today, we're going to unpack how NVIDIA is stepping into the arena, not just by building a faster laptop chip, but by completely reimagining what a personal computer is actually supposed to do.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the Apple standard, then check out NVIDIA's RTX Spark, look at the shift from apps to agents, the great PC rivalry, local AI versus cloud, and wrap up with the broader AI PC war. Let's get right into it.
Before we even look at the hardware specs, we really need to ask ourselves a profound question. What happens when our laptops stop just running passive apps and actually start running active AI agents? I mean, for decades, computers have just been tools, right? You click, you type, and it responds. But what if your machine could understand your goals and work alongside you like a teammate? Keep that shift in the back of your mind as we look at the hardware making this possible.
Right, so first up, the Apple standard and the power of deep integration.
Look, to understand the paradigm shift we're facing, we've got to acknowledge Apple's undisputed dominance in the premium laptop space right now. Apple has set the gold standard with its M-series chips. Take their current flagship, the M5 Max. It's an incredibly polished piece of engineering. We're talking support for up to 128 gigs of unified memory, pulling a blistering 614 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth, all wrapped around an 18-core CPU and a 40-core GPU. But the real kicker, the reason MacBooks absolutely dominate the premium narrative, it delivers all of that while pushing up to 24 hours of battery life. Apple's ecosystem is perfectly integrated. Hardware, macOS, and consumer-focused Apple Intelligence, all working in total silence. It just works.
Moving on to part 2, enter NVIDIA RTX Spark and building the local AI workstation. Now here's where things get really interesting. NVIDIA is attacking this market from a completely different angle. They're treating the PC as a dedicated local AI powerhouse, and the foundation of that starts with a massive 20-core ARM-based Grace CPU. It's built specifically to natively handle heavy, complex computing workloads. And then they pair that processing power with a Blackwell RTX GPU packed with a staggering 6,144 CUDA cores plus FP4 Tensor Core acceleration. That inclusion of CUDA cores, that's a total game changer. Why? Because CUDA is literally the native language of the modern AI development world. So what happens when you smash that CPU and GPU together? You get up to 1 petaflop of raw AI compute sitting right there on your desk. To put that into perspective, that's a level of performance that used to require a giant server rack, and now it's being engineered to sit inside a portable machine. It's pretty wild. Finally, to round it all out, RTX Spark uses up to 128 gigabytes of unified memory. Now, yes, that's the exact same maximum capacity as Apple's M5 Max, but NVIDIA's goal here is highly specific. They want to make absolutely sure you have enough memory space to handle massive large language models and continuously running AI agent context windows entirely locally without crashing your machine.
Okay, section 3, from apps to agents, the paradigm shift.
This right here builds into the core disruptor. It's the shift from using your computer as a passive tool to working alongside it as an active teammate. And we really need to define this because an AI agent is fundamentally different from a standard chatbot. A chatbot basically just answers your questions in a browser window, but an agent actually takes independent actions. It uses your tools, opens your files, and automates your workflows. We aren't just talking about a chat window anymore. We are talking about programs that actually execute tasks.
This breakdown brilliantly illustrates an agentic workflow in action. Step 1, you give the computer a complex prompt. Step 2, the agent autonomously plans out how to achieve it. Step 3, it actively searches your files, edits a video, or runs some code. And Step 4, it checks its own output and just keeps going. Now, to do all of that securely and quickly, you obviously can't be sending all your private files back and forth to a cloud server. It demands the immense local performance, memory, and OS-level security that RTX Spark is aiming to provide.
Which brings us to section 4, the great PC rivalry and a true clash of philosophies.
Look, the reality is NVIDIA didn't suddenly destroy Apple. That's just pure internet hype. Instead, they are fighting entirely different battles, based entirely on what they think users need the most. Just look at the two visions side by side. Apple's AI story, Apple Intelligence, is highly private, integrated, and designed for normal consumers who want battery efficiency and a polished experience. NVIDIA's vision, on the other hand, is built heavily for developers, people who desperately need tools like CUDA, PyTorch, TensorRT, and the sheer horsepower to run powerful open-source language models locally on their machines. If we break down this comparison matrix straight from the source data, you can clearly see who ultimately benefits most from each platform. If you're an iOS developer, or say, a video editor who relies on Final Cut, Apple is still absolutely your undisputed champion. But if you're an AI developer, well, the world already runs on NVIDIA data centers. RTX Spark allows you to prototype locally on PyTorch or Hugging Face, and then seamlessly deploy your work to the cloud because the architecture matches perfectly. Next up, Section 5, Local AI versus Cloud and the Shift to a Hybrid Future.
Let's explore why running these heavy models locally is becoming so critical to developers in the first place, and why the cloud isn't the only answer anymore. Right now, running every single prompt, token, and generation through the cloud is incredibly expensive, it has lag, and honestly, it poses real privacy risks for sensitive corporate data. By moving that compute to the edge, meaning your local laptop, your files stay right on your device, and you don't even need the internet. That being said, massive frontier models and heavy training will always need data centers. So NVIDIA's strategy here is actually pretty brilliant. They want to own both ends of this hybrid future. They already own the cloud infrastructure, and now they want to own your local AI PC too.
And finally, Section 6, the AI PC war and Microsoft's push for the premium PC.
This clash isn't just about silicon. It's actually a critical story for Microsoft's broader Windows ecosystem. For years, Microsoft has watched premium buyers like developers, executives, and creators just flock over to Macs. They desperately need a compelling reason to draw them back. And an agent-native Windows machine packed with NVIDIA's local AI power gives them a really strong narrative. They're deeply optimizing Windows for this, adding OS-level security to contain these AI agents and using Prism emulation to make sure older apps still run smoothly on this new ARM-based architecture.
But hey, we've got to remain perfectly objective here. Keynote presentations are one thing, right? Reality is another. Packing a petaflop of AI compute power into a laptop creates some intense thermal and battery challenges. So before we go crowning a new king, NVIDIA and Microsoft still have a lot to prove. They have to show they've actually solved the heat issues, the battery drain, and those historical compatibility quirks we've seen with Windows on ARM.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer and leaves us with this final provocative question. Apple has built the most perfectly integrated battery-efficient laptop experience we've ever seen, but NVIDIA is betting everything that the future isn't just about passive apps, it's about local, active AI agents. Ultimately, the next laptop war won't just be about CPU speed or battery life alone, it's going to be decided by who builds the best computer for the age of AI agents. What do you think the future of your workflow looks like? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.